Bail revoked and now back behind bars. We're showing you the moment a man accused of trying to rape and kill a woman on a local trail was placed in handcuffs inside a courtroom. Why the judge agreed he should be in custody and what prosecutors are doing to try and make him stay there.
And we are now tracking Tropical Storm Melissa. This is disturbance that have trekked across the entire Atlantic over the last week. We'll talk about the latest and show you the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center coming up in minutes.
Construction frustration here in Marion County. Why businesses believe work on County Road 484 is impacting their bottom line and what we're asking state agencies.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6 at 4 p.m.
First at 4, the man accused of attacking a woman along a popular trail is now back in jail.
He was able to walk free when he got a low bond earlier this month, but today a judge revoked that bond. News 6's Catherine Silver was there when he was placed in handcuffs and denied he attacked the woman.
Jacoby Tillman walked into this courthouse freely today, but just moments after the judge made the decision to revoke his bond, we watched as he was surrounded by deputies and placed in handcuffs.
Motion is granted. Bond is revoked.
Moments after the judge's decision to send Jacoby Tillman back to jail, Tillman said he wanted to make a statement of his own.
I want them to say I didn't do it.
Tillman's defense attorneys quickly quieted the 23-year-old who is facing charges including attempted murder and attempted sexual battery after a woman running on the Little Econ Greenway Trail says he attacked her in July. Tillman was arrested this month, given a $9,500 bond, and released with this warning.
If I get any inkling that you have violated the conditions of pretrial release, you will be arrested on a no bond warrant. You'll be put right back in jail and you will not get out.
But prosecutors say 4 days later, Tillman posted this screenshot on TikTok with a message meant for a witness in the case.
Did Mr. Tillman post that text message and then underneath it basically make a comment referencing the text message?
Yes, ma'am.
The lead detective testified that witness told law enforcement she recognized the account and the screenshot.
This was a communication that was clearly intended to reach the person that the defendant was prohibited from contacting.
The judge says Tillman will remain in custody pending further proceedings.
I love y'all, man.
Prosecutors have filed a motion asking for Tillman to stay in custody while he waits for trial. We're also learning they have notified the court they do plan to seek an enhanced sentence for Tillman due to his prior criminal record. In Orange County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Police are investigating a crash where a car ended up on its roof in a yard. Firefighters with Daytona Beach shared these pictures with us. They say they were helping Holly Hill police. It shows the moments first responders worked to get the driver out of that vehicle. And police shared these pictures saying the crash involved 3 vehicles. It happened on 8th Street and Nova Road in Holly Hill. Officers say 1 person was hurt. So far, investigators have not released the cause of the crash.
We are now tracking newly named Tropical Storm Melissa.
The storm got its name earlier today. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas joins us now with everything we need to know about this one. Jonathan?
Yeah, right now it's still in the Eastern Caribbean, and it's going to stay there between the Eastern and Central Caribbean, guys, for the next several days. We could be talking about this storm all the way through Halloween, as it's not going to move much once it gets into its stalling pattern. We'll get all into that in a second. There's a blob of thunderstorms right here. The center of the storm, though, is actually out here, so it's kind of discombobulated still, separated by shear. And that's one of the reasons why I personally think that this is going to try to meander further to the west. A weaker storm is allowed to go further west. A stronger storm would feel the upper level flow and then kind of jog up to the north a little bit. Official forecast kind of has that same thing rolling here. This is the 2 o'clock advisory. We'll get a new track in about the next 30 to 45 minutes. But you see a very wide cone, and that's because it's going to work its way in here and just kind of meander for several days, as it's kind of a no man's land in the terms of the steering currents in between 2 systems. Latest modeling of Melissa here continues to take it to the west, and you see how these are very slow going here, and then eventually we have that hook back off towards the north and east. That northeasterly pull is going to happen. It's just as the storm get out towards Jamaica, closer to the Cayman Islands, maybe closer to western Cuba, and then work its way up. We're going to break down several more of these models coming up at about 4:47. Of course, we'll have more on your local forecast at about 4:17. We're tracking another cold front, guys. It's going to feel pretty good around these parts.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Thank you. Now to donuts on the green. Someone caused more than $160,000 in damage at this golf course.
Unbelievable. It happened at the club at Venetian Bay in New Smyrna Beach. That's right off State Road 44 and I-95. Your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada shows us the work to get back on course.
I'm standing right here on the second green where this happened. Matter of fact, you could still see the tire marks going straight across here on this putting surface. And police say whoever drove out here in the middle of the night didn't just leave a mess. They left behind more than $160,000 in damage. New Smyrna Beach officers were called out early Sunday after the general manager, Ben Herring, arrived to find deep tire marks and torn up turf on the second green. The club estimates about 7,000 square feet was damaged and that repairs could cost more than $160,000 and take weeks.
There was significant damage, but we have such an amazing maintenance crew led by wonderful superintendent Brad Tucker, and almost immediately we got to work and we aerified the hole, we top dressed it, fertilized it, and it looks like we're going to come off this thing better than we ever have.
A witness reported seeing a vehicle on the course doing donuts around 3:30 in the morning, but as you can see in this video, they could not get a tag number or description in the dark.
Thank God for our community members. They're so gracious to help us out. And one of our members that lives right on hole number 2 gave us video footage of that vehicle doing the donuts on hole number 2.
Detectives are reviewing surveillance video and working with course management to identify those responsible. They're also asking neighbors with cameras to check for any overnight footage and email tips to pdtips@cityofnsb.com. Despite the damage, Herring says the club isn't losing any motion.
This place is in the best shape it's ever been, and it's better than it's ever been. That golf experience will not be tainted by one person's actions.
As of this evening, no arrests have been made. Police say once the driver is identified, they'll be facing felony charges based on the cost of the damage. Reporting in New Smyrna Beach, I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada, News 6.
Human remains found for the second time in less than a week in Marion County. They were found Sunday in Summerfield, that's less than 15 miles from the remains found Friday in Marion Oaks. Investigators say there isn't enough evidence to tie either set of remains to any active cases in the county. Deputies are trying to figure out who the remains belong to and how they died. We, of course, will follow up with the Sheriff's Office for any updates. We'll bring you those on clickorlando.com.
In Seminole County, a UCF professor is on paid leave accused of chasing down and attacking a middle school student. Officers say Professor Sean Peng told a student on an e-bike to slow down, and when the student did not, Peng allegedly followed him to Jackson Heights Middle School in Oviedo. That's where Peng is accused of grabbing the student's arm, then slapping his helmet off his head. A friend eventually got between the two before teachers broke up the scuffle. Now, this all happened back on October 14th. Peng is facing multiple charges.
It's something we're all familiar with here in Central Florida, road construction. In Marion County, people say a project along State Road 484 near I-75 in southern Ocala has seemingly just stopped. A viewer reached out to your Marion County community correspondent, Emily McLeod. She's there now looking for answers.
I got an email from a viewer named Brian about the construction happening on County Road 484 here in Marion County and his frustrations. He asked for my help to try and figure out why it's taking so long. So I called Brian up, met him here on County Road 484 to see the problem for myself and to try to get some answers. Do you feel unsafe driving on this road?
Oh yeah, you know, and all this construction and no one's working on it.
Brian D. reached out to me to try and find out why a road project on County Road 484 has seemingly come to a stop. He says it's like nothing is getting done. Tell me, why did you reach out to News 6 about this traffic problem?
Because the traffic is such a nightmare. I mean, if we drive this at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, even into the evening, the traffic is so terrible that getting through can take a half an hour just to get to I-75.
And with all the construction that's happening, businesses along County Road 484 tell me it's impacting their bottom line.
What worrying us is like month by month, the construction was so slow and so delayed. Like you see now, you don't see anybody working on that project for the last year.
This project out here?
Correct.
Luis Acosta owns Country Lane Tack. His customers are having a hard time getting to his store with all of the traffic.
When you have cars just piled in front of you that just cannot access here, it is, people don't bother to come here.
I reached out to the Florida Department of Transportation and asked them several questions about the project. They tell us in part, improvements on County Road 484 were temporarily paused as the project needed to go through a redesign to better work with the upcoming I-75 Moving Florida Forward project that intersects with that area. Active construction has not happened for many months. FDOT also tells me work is expected to begin within a month for parts of 484 at I-75 that will help reduce congestion. To read FDOT's full statement, you can head to clickorlando.com. I'm your Marion County Community Correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
How can News 6 get answers for you? Go to the News 6 app or clickorlando.com and click Contact Us and let us know how we can help. Hundreds of new families and their cars will soon be able to move into an area that's already seeing traffic gridlock.
The big community that leaders approved without any debate, that's coming up.
If you've ever looked at your TV and just wished that it were up on the wall, but thought to yourself, that's kind of impossible, it's not. We're going to show you how with a special guest. I'm Eric Von Eyck, and Getting Results at Home coming up.
You're watching News 6 at 4 as we take a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach. Looking pretty nice out there right now. We'll be right back.
News 6 Insider is sponsored by Orange County Library System.
Well, look who it is. It's News 6's Julie Broughton.
Eric Von Aiken, you brought your level.
We're getting results at your home today.
All my dreams are coming true.
Aha. I think I see what we're doing today. So you want us to take this and put it right here.
You're so good at this, yes.
Well, we haven't done it yet. I don't know.
Yes, but you know, there are lots of moving parts.
I see what you mean by
I'm
moving
really good at
parts.
this.
We're going to break this down into just a few simple steps.
Okay.
We're going to put the mount on the wall, we're going to connect it to your TV, and then we're going to hang it.
Okay.
So this is a good start. Julie gave us a pretty good indication of where she would like her TV to end up on the wall. Now what we have to do is find the studs inside the wall. These are the 2x4s that run the length of the entire wall. How do we find them? Using something like this. This is called a stud finder, and it's kind of awesome. It finds the stud inside your wall, so you know exactly where to put the bolt, and then you have a really solid anchor, kind of like Julie. What I like to do before I put the mounting bracket on the wall is check where the hangers end up sitting on the back of your TV. Now here's why it's so important to put the hanger on first, because the hook on the hanger is where the TV is going to hang from. So if you measure from the hook to the top of the TV, you'll know exactly at what height to position your hanger so your TV ends up in the right place on the wall.
So you're doing some ratcheting.
Okay.
Is that what it's called?
You know what? I got something for you.
Okay. Okay.
Go for it.
Oh my gosh, I'm doing it.
Julie Broughton is getting her own results
That's
at home.
right.
I told you could do it. All right, ready?
Yep.
So what we're gonna do is take the hooks on those hangers, Julie, and put them right over the edge of the bracket,
Okay. I think I got it.
like that.
Yeah.
You trust us?
I think. It's still on there.
You just got results at home.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, it might just be Julie showing up at your house next week. But for now, it's Jeff and I. If there's a project you'd like us to tackle inside your house, send me an email at gettingresultsathome@wkmg.com. And next week, we might just show up at your house. For now in Winter Park, Eric Von Eyck at Getting Results, News 6.
And we can report that TV is still
up.
on the wall, still secure.
Julie is very handy. I've seen her other work, like wallpapering.
She's great with wallpaper.
Great job. So maybe she will show up at your house. All right, meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now with what's going on outside. Another beautiful day, Jonathan.
Very nice. A little on the warmer side, maybe for some, although the humidity, the rich stuff, not coming back just yet. And I don't think we really see that for the rest of the season. We'll get a little more humid, I think, getting into the weekend. Right now, nice clean sweep in the radar picture. Over the next hour or so, really the next few hours into your evening, we might be able to bubble up a few stray downpours right along I-4 and then right off to the south and east. If you're heading out tonight, most of us will be driving. You'll get an alert if there's a downpour nearby by downloading the free News 6 weather app. Anytime there's rain within about 10 miles, you're going to get that alert to dial up the radar and see where exactly it is. So here we go, 5, 6 o'clock through the evening. A few extra clouds try to bubble up. This is ahead of our next cold front, which will reinforce that drier, nice and comfy air. That's 7, 8 o'clock tonight, and there we go. That's it. I mean, just a few stray downpours in the mix. Most of us will be dry, so nothing to write home about, nothing to certainly help your lawn, so keep the sprinklers on, as I don't have any real big chance of rain over the next 7 days. There's 1 to 2 o'clock on your Wednesday. Think we have the sunshine again. Later on in the evening, you saw those clouds go through. That is the cold front, and that is what's going to take our temperatures down a smidge. We're not talking about crazy cool air, but it will reinforce the less humid air. I think good window opening weather coming back down the pipeline. Live look here, downtown Orlando. We're looking at the airport here with our live the Light Orlando delivering Hope Skycam this evening. Air temperatures back to the mid-80s. The breeze out of the north at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. We're going to reinforce that breeze again tomorrow. 87 in Groveland, Leesburg. Good evening. We are at 85. Sanford and DeLand, we are into the mid-80s as well. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, we're still back in that ballpark of most of us into the 60s, a couple of 70s hanging around towards Orlando, Mount Dora. We're back to the mid-60s. Now here's a look at tomorrow afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
Highs climb back into the mid to upper 80s again tomorrow. So another warm afternoon as the front comes late into the afternoon through your evening. Rain chances as the front pushes in only at 10%. Most of us will see that frontal passage on the drier side. Here is the front back off towards the north and west. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms back toward Louisiana, extending towards Atlanta. This front again comes through late tomorrow afternoon into the evening and then gives us a nice refreshing shot as we move into Thursday. You see, the temperatures don't drop all that much, closer to where we should be Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. But what you will notice is as we've gotten a little bit of humidity back over the past couple of days, you're going to notice that drop really Wednesday night into especially when you wake up on Thursday morning. Latest on Melissa, again, it's still a tropical storm, and it should stay that way for the next several days. Again, it's mid-level center where the thunderstorms are way back here. The low-level center, though, is right here. The two of those, they need to be co-located until they really start to strengthen, and that's likely going to take a couple of days as it meanders into the Caribbean. We'll have much more on that system at about 4:47. Locally, we are looking great. Low to mid 60s to start to Thursday and Friday. We'll keep things in the lower 80s, right where we should be to close out the work week, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. An already traffic-heavy road is about to get even more congested.
Yeah, a brand new development now has the green light to bring hundreds of homes. Where it's going and what this means for drivers. That's next. A live look now at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
Nearly 300 new homes will be built close to the Osceola-Orange County line.
It's happening in an area that is already dealing with traffic problems on Narcoossee Road. We told you about this yesterday on News 6 at 4. Last night, Osceola County city leaders unanimously approved plans. The vote passed without any debate. They signed off on 2 big subdivisions that will bring 289 new homes to the area just off Crosswater Boulevard. Neighbors say they are concerned about the traffic. Right now, Narcoossee Road already struggles with more cars than it was built to handle.
As you can see here, the traffic is very horrible because they keep building houses around. So usually it takes me an hour and a half to get back home or back and forth, you know.
Anchor Matt Austin told us last week Narcoossee traffic now tops 58,000 cars a day. It was built for a capacity of 55,000 cars. A relief toll road project is in the works, but it is still several years from completion. Earlier this month, we told you about the investigation into a teacher because of a song she sang to a 6-year-old student on his birthday.
Coming up, what the school district is now saying about that investigation.
Plus, concerns surrounding kids being groomed online.
Hundreds of children, and we really think it's only the tip of the iceberg.
The Central Florida families taking online gaming platform Roblox to court. That's next. Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
The man accused of attacking a woman along a popular Orange County trail in July is now back in jail. Jacoby Tillman was able to walk free when he got a $9,500 bond earlier this month, but today a judge revoked it. Tillman is facing charges including attempted murder and attempted sexual battery. In Seminole County, a UCF professor accused of chasing down and attacking a middle school student is on paid leave. Sean Pang was arrested last Tuesday. He's facing multiple charges. In Marion County, we've learned why a massive road construction project has come to a halt. It's caused trouble for drivers and businesses on State Road 484. FDOT is reworking its plan for the road so it can sync up with new plans for an updated I-75. Construction on State Road 484 is expected to resume next month.
On Monday, we told you about disturbing allegations linked to the online game Roblox. Kids sexually exploited. Parents accused the game maker of not doing enough to protect children. Today, News 6 investigator Erica Brugulio found out how tips about exploitation are investigated and why it's so difficult to track down the suspects.
Hundreds of children, and we really think it's only the tip of the iceberg.
Pat Hewitt and his law firm have been investigating cases against Roblox for 2 years. He's now representing a 16-year-old girl from Brevard County who claims she was groomed and sexually exploited on the platform.
And her life has just dramatically changed to the point where it's hard for her to even function anymore.
A separate lawsuit was just filed on behalf of an 11-year-old girl from Brevard County. According to this lawsuit, a man posed as a young boy on Roblox, gained her trust, then manipulated her into sending explicit images of herself. In return, he would give her Robux, the virtual money used to buy things on the app. Florida's Attorney General is launching a criminal investigation into Roblox. His office just issued criminal subpoenas in response to allegations the company was not doing enough to verify user ages and moderate content. Hewitt says Roblox needs to verify people's age when they sign up and screen users in case they have a history of child abuse. He also says the platform needs to warn parents about the risks.
Roblox says publicly that its platform is one of the safest online environments for children. That's how parents get lured into this false sense of security.
Under law, technology companies are required to report suspected child exploitation on their platform to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In Central Florida, those tips are investigated by a unit within the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office says Roblox is one of the top 10 companies that submitted tips in Central Florida, with more than 800 tips reported since the start of this year. It's behind Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, which have reported thousands of incidents since January 1st. Now, when it comes to Roblox, the Sheriff's Office says many of the tips submitted lack information, including the age of the victim, suspect, or criminal exchange, making it tough to investigate. However, the Sheriff's Office says it does not have enough information to say Roblox is negligent at reporting or failing to protect children. Hewitt urges parents to talk to their kids about the risks and also monitor what their children are doing online.
There are other apps that parents can use, like this app called the Bark app, which is one that helps parents monitor their children's use of apps like Roblox.
News 6 reached out to Roblox for its response to these lawsuits and if it has other plans to update its security features. A spokesperson says, quote, "We have a strong record of working with law enforcement and investing in advanced safety systems to help protect our users and remove bad actors. We prohibit the sharing of images and videos in chat, use filters designed to block the exchange of personal information, and are working to implement age estimation for all users accessing chat features." I posted the full statement at clickorlando.com. Erica Brugulio, News 6.
A Polk County elementary school teacher accused of singing a controversial song to a student will be keeping her job. We told you earlier this month, the mom of a student at Floral Elementary in Bartow called on the school district to take action against Kimberly Langston. The district's investigation report says Langston sang what she called a silly version of the Happy Birthday song to students of different races. However, the mom of the 6-year-old student calls it offensive and racially insensitive. The district says they found no evidence that Langston meant any harm. However, she received a written reprimand for photographing students without parental consent. The family's attorney says they intend to send a notice of intent to sue the school district.
In just a few hours, Kissimmee city leaders are expected to accept $200,000 in grant money to create a pilot program to help those experiencing homelessness. Your Kissimmee community correspondent Stephanie Rodriguez explains how the program will work.
The grant will fund a pilot program to address homelessness here in Kissimmee, which has become a focus for a lot of cities in Florida since the state's public camping ban went into effect. While money is on the way to help people experiencing homelessness in Kissimmee, some feel it's long overdue.
I'm not really sure that they are. I mean, everybody lives in the woods. And I mean, it's nothing, great. I don't feel like they're helping.
The city expects this grant will give them more manpower to address homelessness. It will create a community engagement unit pilot program designed to assist people in difficult, high-risk situations like Muhammad.
I'm not a young man, okay?
And Timothy, who has to move from place to place due to the state's public camping ban prohibiting sleeping and camping on public property.
Everybody's homeless. Ain't nowhere to go.
How hard is that?
That's real hard. You see it right now. What can I do? Not much. Ride around with a big bag on my leg.
Kissimmee's pilot program will have a homeless service coordinator, law enforcement, a mental health provider, and engage with local agencies to try to divert people from the criminal justice system to stable housing. What could they do better?
I mean, they build all these apartments and stuff around here, and most of them are empty. How come ain't nobody living in them? Somebody could be.
What's your message to city leaders?
Help us. Put us inside.
Kissimmee is set to accept the grant during tonight's city commission meeting. I have reached out to the city for more information on the pilot program. I'm your Kissimmee community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
So the city commission meeting Stephanie just mentioned starts at 6 o'clock.
Taking a live look at the Capitol, we are now in day 21 of the shutdown, and the president is saying Republicans will not be giving in to Democrats. Today, he had lunch with Senate Republicans. Erica Brown is at the White House with the details.
At a Rose Garden lunch with Senate Republicans Tuesday, President Trump blamed Democrats for the ongoing government shutdown and made it clear his party will not budge.
From the beginning, our message has been very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune said Republicans were united in their refusal to negotiate with Democrats until after a funding bill is passed to reopen the government.
Everybody here has voted now 11 different times to open up the government, and we are going to keep voting to open up the government, and eventually the Democrats, hopefully sooner or later, are going to come around.
Democrats continue to hold out for extended Affordable Care Act subsidies and reversals to cuts to Medicaid.
Republicans may not have time to fix people's health care, but apparently they got plenty of time for a mini pep rally with Donald Trump.
As the stalemate drags on, some states are warning the food assistance program known as SNAP could run out of funding, and recipients might not receive full benefits come November.
If SNAP is lost, it will devastate this community.
At the Capuchin Soup Kitchen in Detroit, one mother says making ends meet on federal assistance is already a challenge.
It shouldn't be that you got to go in your pocket later to get cash that's going to short your bill, and well, one bill won't get paid today, just to make sure your children and you have food.
With SNAP funding uncertain, food pantries across the country are preparing for the increased need and are urging people in a position to help to consider donating. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Although the government is shut down, Medicare open enrollment is underway. News 6's Justin Warmoth spoke with Dr. Mehmet Oz, who heads up the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, about this important time of year for seniors.
Open enrollment is the time when you need to go to Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE if you don't like websites, and just figure out if your plan is the right plan for you. There's lots of new plans out there. Your plan might have changed. You might be on new medications. You change doctors. You need new doctors. All these reasons are out there, and you could save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars.
Dr. Oz says the best way to see the plans that work for you is to make an account on Medicare.gov. Experts can then look at your information and tailor the coverage that works best for you. Now, if you want to watch that full interview, we have it posted for you with a link to the Medicare website at clickorlando.com. One last thing to note, the open enrollment period ends on December 7th.
New at 4, Sanford Porch Fest is hitting pause on its next event. The wildly popular free music festival was set to take place this coming February, but in a social media post, organizers say delays in finalizing logistics and a plan for the festival's future have made it impossible to move forward. They are stressing, though, that this is just a pause. The event is expected to return in 2027. In February of this year, more than 70 bands performed on 18 porches throughout the day. Heavy traffic, failing pavement, and safety issues. Leaders in one local county are set to discuss improvements on roads you may drive on every day.
The changes they are discussing and what it means for your commute. That's next.
Plus, what we're learning about the search for the thieves who stole millions of dollars worth of jewels from the Louvre in Paris. And before we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Then go in depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions at 9:30. And you can watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
I'm your Volusia County community correspondent, Angie Casada, and we're in Daytona Beach, where this road right behind me, Tomoka Farms Road, is on the county's priority list when it comes to roads that need to get fixed. And it's because of the heavy truck traffic, but also failing pavement and safety issues. And today, council will also be shown possible funding options to pay for projects like this, including state and federal grants, property tax, sales tax, and bond options. Now, take a look at your screen. These are the top top 5 high priority road projects included in this presentation today. And these roads are all across Volusia County, including a big stretch of Orange Camp Road, the extension of Williamson Boulevard, widening Howland Boulevard, and Kepler Road. Engineers say Tomoka Farms needs more than patching. It needs structural rebuilding as traffic volume and damage continue to grow. Today's presentation will walk council through the costs and lay out multiple funding paths, but no final decisions are expected today. Drivers that we spoke to in this area say their number one concern is safety.
Well, like anything big around here, you're going to find that it's going to put some hiccups in the everyday commute. But other than that, I mean, we're used to it. Anything that makes it better, makes it safer, it's good in my book.
Of course, we'll be tracking how council responds to the cost breakdown and funding discussion today and what that could mean for drivers moving forward. Reporting in Daytona Beach, I'm your Volusia County community correspondent, Angie Casada, News 6.
Well, the value of those jewels stolen from the Louvre is estimated at $102 million, and that does not even include their historical value to France.
100 investigators are now involved in the hunt for the suspects in this. The heist happened in less than 8 minutes Sunday. The bandits entered the backside of the museum using a basket lift before smashing a display case and taking 9 items, including a pearl and diamond tiara made for Napoleon III's wife, Eugenie, and a sapphire-studded necklace and earrings. A best-selling author who has written several books featuring art thefts shared his perspective.
There's a trend in museum heists toward staying away from paintings that are much harder to move and going after objects like this that can be repackaged, as it were, and broken down and melted and slipped onto the market that way.
Oh my goodness. As they made their getaway, the thieves did leave one item behind, a diamond-studded crown. France's culture minister says the security system at the museum worked properly. Authorities say they suspect the heist is linked to an organized crime network.
Yeah, I doubt it's just, your average Joe who
wouldn't
was
think
able to
so.
pull
Who
that
didn't
off.
see the lift, though?
It is bizarre.
Wow.
I mean, it has people around the world
That's like
talking
bringing a
about this.
crane in. It's like nothing to see here. Just go on about your
Maybe
day.
they disguise as a construction company and they're like, hey, we're getting roof
I don't
work
know.
done tonight.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Jonathan,
Ocean's 11
tell us what's
or
going
12.
on out there. It looks great behind you.
Yeah, fantastic afternoon. A little warmer today, we were talking about, out ahead of our next cold front. Now, this cold front is not going to drop our temperatures drastically, but it is going to reinforce some of that drier, more comfortable air. We've kind of seen the humidity tick up just a smidge. That's going to go back down, especially when you wake up on Thursday morning. Here's a live look outside Port Canaveral with our Launch Credit Union camera. There are beautifully blue skies, just a few of those puffy clouds. We will lose most of those clouds as the sun goes down tonight. We have air temperatures right now into the lower 80s. Getting into tomorrow, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Couple of downpours possible late tonight south and east of I-4. They are few and far between. Most of us are dry for heading out tonight. Same deal tomorrow. Rain chances only at 10%. Maybe able to squeak out a slight opportunity for a shower as the front comes through late afternoon, early evening tomorrow. Ahead of the front, though, we're still nice and toasty, mid to upper 80s, a few notches above where we should be. Tropical front, we have Melissa, and you can track everything, including the tropics. It's all built in the Hurricane Tracker app. You can download the free News 6 weather app. All the spaghetti models are loaded in there, and, of course, the official forecast from the Hurricane Center. So a great tool to track the tropics and, of course, to get your local forecast from us. Here is Melissa. It is disheveled still. All the thunderstorms back to the east. The center of it's actually right out here. The two of those need to be co-located or else it is not going to start to strengthen. So it should stay weak for the next couple of days. But then that kind of poses a threat. 5 o'clock to the Caribbean. 5 o'clock advisory hot off the press, 50-mile-per-hour storm still. Not much is likely going to change with this track over the next couple of days. You see a very slow-moving storm. That's why the cone is so wide and looks like a giant basketball here on your screen. It's going to meander in between likely Haiti and Jamaica for several days. You see that latest timestamp there, Sunday afternoon, and it's not moving much. So some heavy rain potential coming to the Caribbean. In terms of where this thing could go, I know this looks like a giant plate of spaghetti. It's one of the reasons why it's called a spaghetti model. But these lines do tell a story. You see these lines here focused more towards Haiti. If the storm were to get strong fast, it's going to feel the jet stream a little bit more and get on up and out of here. The issue is I don't think that one's going to happen. I think it's going to stay week long. You saw it was kind of disheveled. And the weaker storm is going to allow it to become a little further west following those lines. Eventually, though, there is a system that does grab it and then takes it back out to sea. So while there's a ton of lines here, there really are two camps. Stronger, faster goes this way. Weaker goes further to the west a little bit. Right now, I do think it's going to stay weak for the next few days. It's going to be under the influence of some shears. We're watching it closely again. Still, though, should not be an issue for Florida directly. Big chunk of high pressure out over Mexico. That's what kind of keeps it at bay and does not allow the movement really to get out of the Caribbean for the next several days. We could be tracking this through beyond Halloween. 84 on Thursday, back to the lower 80s on Friday. Rain chances up to 20% on Sunday with a little more humidity, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Now to a question for our traffic safety expert.
Someone had a question about being pulled over because the tiny light above their tag was out. Trooper Steve explains next.
Mic check, testing. This is Matt Austin with News 6.
It's time for Ask Trooper Steve, where I get to answer some of the questions that you send in to me. And all this talk about license plate has people checking the back of their cars, and for good reason. One viewer asked, I got pulled over because that tiny light above my tag being out, is that legit? Well, yep. Sure is. Under Florida law 316-221, your rear license plate has to be visible from at least 50 feet away at night because it's dark outside. That means there got to be that little white light shining on whenever your headlights are turned on. Now, it seems like a small thing, right? But that tag light is part of your car's required safety equipment, period. If it's out, an officer has every legal right to stop you, just like a broken taillight or if your headlight was out, right? So before you hit the road tonight, I want you to take 2 seconds, walk to the back of your vehicle, and just make sure that light is shining and it's turned on. It's one of the small details that could save you from a ticket or at least from being pulled over for some like something that's just worth $2. So is it legal to get pulled over for the broken tag light? You bet it is. If you got a traffic safety question and you want me to answer it, head over to clickorlando.com/asktroopersteve.
A new state-of-the-art driving range at a historic Central Florida golf course is now officially open for business in Orlando.
City leaders held the grand opening this morning at the 101-year-old Dubstrad Golf Course.
1, 2, 3, swing.
I was there as Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, City Commissioner Robert Stewart, and more took the celebratory first swing this morning. The new driving range and learning center is made for players of all ages and skill levels. The revamp includes 40 covered bays and an indoor air-conditioned learning center. Each golfer's shot is tracked by Doppler radar, and technology from TrackMan can analyze your swing.
I can tell you I've heard so much buzz. So many people in College Park are so excited for this to finally be open and to come out here and experience this. What can people expect when they come out here?
They can expect top-notch service we've got an amazing staff of food and beverage employees that has grown greatly over the last couple months. And they can expect what I perceive as a very well-priced product and experience. And we want all the feedback. If there's something going on that they don't like, we want to know it. But no, we want this to be home.
Construction on the nearly $4 million makeover started back in April. It also features a 19th hole snack shack.
Very cool. I love that better than a ribbon cutting.
Right, the celebratory first swing.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
It's so cool. All right, News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, if you think you had a bad day at work, wait until you hear what happened to one guy. He showed up to do some utility work when he was jumped and his truck was stolen. The whole thing caught on camera, too. We're going to show you what happened. Plus, some major developments in Washington that could have impacts along the Space Coast. Your forecast only minutes away. Don't forget you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. We'll have a look at what's going on in the tropics coming up at 5 o'clock.
Tropical storm Melissa officially formed today. We'll have the latest 5 p.m. advisory hot off the press from the Hurricane Center coming up.
They do. I hear there's like street racing out here all the time.
And neighbors worried about their safety as the streets in their community look more like racetracks. You're watching News 6 at 5.
But let's start with a close look at the tropics tonight as Tropical Storm Melissa formed in the Caribbean today.
Meteorologist Jonathan Gagas joins us now. So, Jonathan, what do we need to know about this storm?
Yeah, the one thing we're watching now is that it is kind of weak and it is disheveled, and it should stay that way for the next couple of days. That poses some problems, though, at least for certain islands in the Caribbean. As the weaker it is, the further west it goes. Here's the center of the storm out here. All of its thunderstorms are back here. Low-level wind shear pushing the storm, the center of the storm along to the west, and then we have upper level shear kind of pushing the thunderstorms back to the east. So it should stay on the weaker side for the next couple of days. 5 o'clock advisory just in from the National Hurricane Center. I don't think we're going to see much change in this track. You see it just gets kind of inflated here. That's what happens when the storms just kind of meander around. The cone gets really, really wide. But you see the kind of the center line here as we get into Sunday afternoon, somewhere in between Haiti and Jamaica. Hurricane Hunter's the first mission. It's up there now. You see the plane leaving earlier today. There it goes as it works its way. It's kind of just getting to the center of the storm right now. So later tonight, we're going to have the first model runs with that fresh Hurricane Hunter data in there. Should learn a lot more starting this evening. We'll talk much more about that at about 5:17, guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. Breaking now, a 15-year-old's facing serious charges tonight after police say he threatened to carry out a shooting at a West Melbourne middle school. Palm Bay police say this is a photo of the threat that Stone Middle School student made against Central Middle School. According to police, when questioned about it, the teen admitted to it. He was arrested in Palm Bay, that's where he lives, and charged with making written threats to conduct a mass shooting. An inmate who removed his toilet and burrowed his way to freedom was hoping to have his name cleared after a witness came forward.
Michael Rigby escaped from maximum security at the Osceola County Jail in 2010, leading to a lengthy manhunt. He was found and returned to jail, but has always claimed his innocence. Your Osceola County community correspondent Laverne McGee was at his hearing today.
I knew that wasn't the man that did it, yeah.
Why didn't you come forward before 2022?
Because I was afraid of the police. I was afraid of what would happen. I mean, I was still young at that time. I didn't have the knowledge that I have now.
Jonathan McAllister is the witness who says he lied back in 2008, saying that Michael Rigby tried to rob a woman at a CVS in Kissimmee. Rigby went to jail but eventually escaped through the pipes of a toilet he broke open. He was eventually found and has now served 15 years of his 22-year sentence. McAllister says he decided to come forward after reading some of a book that Rigby wrote about what happened to him.
He was 100% accusing me. For the greater part of the last decade and a half, I was convinced that McAllister was accusing me, and I didn't have the slightest inclination that he would recant the way how he did.
The judge, however, did not believe the witness.
I don't find that the evidence is credible.
Rigby's mother doesn't agree.
Did you think he was credible?
I thought he was. Why would he come after 15 years and say that he's the one? That my son has not committed that crime. Why after 15 years?
The victim's family was relieved.
I'm just happy with what the judge said.
Are you relieved?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm happy. That's all I can say.
So you're saying he did it? He tried to rob you?
That's in anything. I'm not going to say anything. Thank you. We're done. No talking. I'm done.
Rigby's family says they want him to file an appeal. I'm your Osceola County community correspondent Laverne McGee, News 6.
An early morning service call quickly devolved into an early morning carjacking. Video obtained exclusively by News 6 shows the dramatic moments where someone steals a truck. So the 22-year-old man deputies say is responsible for this is now facing 8 charges. Your Orlando community correspondent joins us now live from where this happened along Edgewater Drive. Mike Valenti, a utility employee, was getting ready to work on a job there when they say all of this happened.
Yeah, Lisa, good evening. That's right. The surveillance video that we obtained from a business across the street shows the moment when that employee pulls his truck into this driveway behind me. The video also shows the moment that another man gets in and drives off in that same truck.
Caught on camera,
This carjacking unfolds right along a busy road as drivers make their way to work. But let's back up just a few minutes, shortly before 7:40 a.m. Monday morning, when this truck pulls into the driveway. Deputies say this utility worker was waiting for his boss to get there to start a job. But instead, walking into the frame is this man, who deputies identified as 22-year-old Stefano Brutus. An arrest affidavit for Brutus states that the defendant asked the worker if he knew the bus route, or if the worker could give him a ride. When the employee said no to both questions, deputies claim an argument began. Watch closely as that argument turns physical. You can hear some yelling, but it's hard to make out exactly what they're saying. Deputies say the victim fought back, but as you can see in the video, it shows the suspect was able to get into the truck and back it up before it appears he briefly changes his mind, parks it in the driveway again, gets out, and follows the employee out of frame. Deputies say Brutus pushed the victim down onto the ground, leaving him with cuts and bruises. Then we can see the suspect run back to the truck and take off. The arrest affidavit claims that Brutus then got into a crash at Edgewater and Lee Road before ditching the truck and trying to get into other vehicles. According to the arrest affidavit, one of the pieces of evidence that Brutus left behind was one of his Crocs. And deputies say that after he was arrested, Brutus tried to run away at the booking facility, but they quickly caught up to him there. As for the victim here, he is doing okay. We texted with him a bit. Understandably, he is not up for going on camera, but he is doing okay. OUC says the victim is an employee with Utility Partners of America doing some contract work for OUC, but we've yet to receive a statement from either OUC or UPA. As for the suspect, the defendant, Stefano Brutus here, he is due in court next on Friday. We're live off Edgewater Drive. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Caught by the croc. Mike Valenti, thank you very much. We are following two big developments in the space industry that could have major impacts along our space coast.
News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden joins us now with the breakdown on this for us. Ginger?
Yeah, right now the man in charge of NASA is Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, but his interim title will expire at the end of this year. According to the Wall Street Journal, Duffy is making a push to fold NASA into the Department of Transportation. The Journal reports he told multiple government officials he wanted to bring NASA under the Transportation Department's purview, believing NASA would benefit from being part of the cabinet. We reached out to NASA today about this development, and they told us in part, quote, Sean said that NASA might benefit from being part of the cabinet, maybe even within the Department of Transportation, but he has never said he wants to keep the job himself, end quote. In the meantime, Duffy continues to be the face for NASA. He announced yesterday the agency is reopening the $4.5 billion contract to land astronauts on the moon again. That reopens production for the lunar lander, which is a contract currently held by SpaceX. Duffy mentioned Blue Origin as one of the companies that could fight for that spot. He says Starship, the current landing vehicle, is behind, and he wants to beat China to the moon, preferably during President Trump's term. The Artemis II project is expected to launch next year, taking 4 astronauts into lunar orbit. Artemis III, actually landing astronauts on the moon, has been pushed back to at least 2027. Now, during his time running NASA, Duffy has pushed through new policies about private space stations several U.S. companies are developing and set a goal of sending a nuclear power facility to the moon before the end of the decade. Matt, Lisa?
Ginger Gadsden, thank you. Well, an overflowing retention pond, neighbors say, is flooding a community of more than 100 mobile homes.
Some people living there say the ground is so wet, their homes are actually sinking. So they turned to your Cocoa community correspondent James Barbero to get answers.
So after I worked on a story Friday at a mobile home park in Mims, I was contacted by someone here at the Westgate mobile home community in West Cocoa, west of I-95, talking about this retention pond and all the trouble coming from it. They say it's flooding their neighborhood. So Virginia, just how bad does it get when that pond floods?
This area will be flooded. Before they started digging the ditch on through, it would be flooded all the way up the street there.
I asked FDOT about the flooding, and it told me that workers came here to clear that ditch running along the pond. Without it being blocked of any debris, FDOT tells me the system's working how it should.
It's been an ongoing problem since we've been here.
But people who live here, like Virginia, who, by the way, lives in one of the closest homes to the pond, is still worried anytime it rains. Neighbors also told me when the big equipment was here, they were afraid those vehicles could hit a gas line.
I don't want us to go boom.
People here also think FDOT hit a water line, but when I asked FDOT about that, it told me they did hit a pipe, but it wasn't for water. They couldn't tell me exactly what the pipe was for, but they did want me to tell neighbors they're looking at options at how they can make possible improvements. For now, FDOT said they have no indication the pond is impacting the park. So what needs to be done to fix this problem?
Well, they need to trench it better. The water's coming this way, but it has no place to go down here. It needs to go that way.
And because Virginia told me this problem is ongoing, I'll keep in touch with this community, especially if it rains again anytime soon. In case you were wondering what the retention pond's here for, FDOT told me it was built 18 years ago as part of an I-95 widening project. In Brevard County, I'm your COCO community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
And if there's something you would like us to look into, head to clickorlando.com and click on the Contact Us tab, fill out the form, and we'll make sure the right person looks into your concern.
Well, tire streaks along asphalt is something you'd expect to see at Daytona International Speedway. Not so much, though, in a neighborhood. Next at 5, the safety concerns people living there say they have.
And later, are your affairs in order if something were to happen to you? We're asking financial experts on the best way to prepare a will.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Cars doing burnouts and donuts in the streets. It's a problem we've seen before, but for homeowners in Windermere, they say their frustration is building as it is becoming a nightly occurrence.
Your West Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, spoke with homeowners about the problem they say is keeping them up at night.
It's tire tracks you expect to see at a racetrack, but instead it's in the middle of a neighborhood. And homeowners that I spoke with say it's not only a nuisance, but a concern that's growing. Treating neighborhood roads like they're on a set of a movie.
It's just wild, but I hear there's like street racing out here all the time.
How many cars are y'all seeing doing this?
Almost every single night, we had people speeding by, going 60, 70 miles per hour on the road. I would say every other night, there's people doing donuts in the middle of the road.
For multiple homeowners along Tanett Boulevard in Windermere, reckless drivers are becoming more than just a simple nightmare, but a danger. What do you think about this? The fact that there's tire tracks right here by a middle school.
Yeah, so it happens often. So usually they'll go fast, they'll do a donut right here, they'll spin out, and then they'll gun it the opposite direction.
Across Orlando, we've covered street racing multiple times. It was just in July where a driver was arrested for shooting fireworks from a car while doing donuts. These homeowners hope to see more of a crackdown for their neighborhood.
More police presence would be nice, and of course, more speed bumps.
It can be annoying, yeah. It'll keep you up, or if you're about to fall asleep.
I brought their concern to the sheriff's office, and they responded in part, quote, "When there is an apparent increase in street racing in a specific area, our deputies respond and provide additional patrols." But they also state we cannot have deputies on every street corner 24/7. However, for those living here, they're wanting this nightly nuisance under control before someone gets hurt.
They should post like a cop out here or something and just like maybe even like right down there, because you wouldn't be able to see, and then you'd be like, you're going that fast.
Both of the people that I spoke with say hopefully there's more of a police presence after this so this can stop happening. Reporting, I'm your West Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton. Tylisa, thank you. And those caught taking part in street racing and coordinated street takeovers face new, harsher penalties. Prior to July 1st, anyone who races or performs stunts in a road or parking lot could face up to a year in jail and lose their license for a year. A new law that took effect on July 1st added a $2,000 fine for first-time offenders and added penalties for subsequent offenses. Spectators at those events could also be fined $400.
All right, time to get a check of that weather. We have meteorologist Jonathan Kegas keeping track of those temperatures and everything that's going on, and it's a lot.
And a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, I think some even comfortable air is on the way. More comfortable air coming on the pipeline. Right now, we do have temperatures into the mid to upper 80s. We were talking about this yesterday, that today would be a warmer day. Tomorrow also on the warmer side before some slightly cooler air returns. You can stay up to date with the forecast. Of course, by downloading that free News 6 weather app, all the tropical stuff you can want as well, all buried within that app. So download that for free. I think it's a great tool to track the weather. 87 in Groveland right now, hanging around the upper 80s in Holopaw as well. Melbourne, good evening. We are at 83. DeLand, we're checking in at 84 degrees. Some of us getting close to 90 as expected this afternoon. Now, tomorrow morning, a little better. We're back to the mid-60s for us at 64 in Mount Dora. We're at 66 degrees in Sanford. We are going to start things off right around 70 degrees in Orlando. Now, here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Temperatures tomorrow get back to the mid to upper 80s. Rain chances at 10%. We do have a cold front coming through. Most of that passage of the front should be on the drier side. We might notice a few extra clouds into the evening, but otherwise it should be dry as it comes through. Back to the same ballpark as today. We're talking mid to upper 80s as we move forward, but we're all waiting for this cold front. If you like it a little on the more comfortable side, it's certainly not terrible outside, no doubt about it. We don't have that rich summer-like humidity, but we're going to shave some of the humidity that we've gotten ourselves back into right back out of here. There's the front moving through parts of North Georgia, extending back towards about New Orleans right now. That comes through again late tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Now, ahead of that front tonight, we could have a few stray downpours hanging around along and southeast of I-4. Most of us will be having a nice clear night, but that stray opportunity is going to be out there again, mainly south and east of I-4. Getting into tomorrow, I think we have more sunshine to start. Once we get into the evening, that's when I think we could have a few stray clouds try to sneak back in here as that front comes through to change things for the more comfortable. Looks gorgeous out there right now, though. Daytona Beach, a lot of blue sky. It's a live look again at the beach. We're back to around 80 degrees. The breeze right now out of the east-northeast at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Latest on the tropics, there is Melissa again officially coming today. This is really just the thunderstorms associated with it. Melissa's center is somewhere out here right now. So again, the storm is not vertically stacked as we call it, and until it does so, it's really not going to be able to take advantage of the warm water. Of course, that's what we like. but the longer it stays weaker, the further west it can go. Again, still a very low opportunity for any kind of tropical impacts into South Florida. Although if it does come further west, it's obviously going to have a better opportunity for that to happen. The highest probability for any kind of impacts when it comes to Melissa are going to be on the western side of the Dominican Republic into Haiti. And then I'm really watching Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and central and eastern Cuba, as it's likely going to make its exit somewhere out in this area as a big dip in the jet stream takes the storm and then sends it back into the Atlantic. So again, right now, looks like impacts none too low in the state of Florida. 84 degrees tomorrow. Nice and comfortable air starts to come back in for Thursday. 86 tomorrow. We're back to the lower 80s on Friday. Nice cool start on Thursday into Friday morning. Back to the lower 80s and staying in the lower 80s as we get into the upcoming weekend, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Only 1 in 4 Americans have a will. Up next, the 3 documents every family needs and the one mistake that could leave your loved ones tied up in court.
Your Tuesday evening traffic alert, same stuff we see all the time. No heavy weather coming through, so they're going to really ramp this stuff up. Southern portions of the Florida Turnpike overnight, southbound past 192 or right around, you'll see some heavy lane closures, especially on your entrance and exit ramps out there. Also, I-4 east and westbound by Champions Gate, and then the routine lane closures out by our attractions on I-4 between the Turnpike and State Road 528. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
A recent study found only 1 in 4 Americans have a will. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger is here to talk about what you need to do to get your estate in order. Jill, what are the most important documents we need to have?
Well, let's talk about that will, because it is a legal document that ensures that your assets are passed to whomever you want those assets to go to. They don't have to be worth a lot in the world. They have to mean something to you. You'll name an executor. That's a person or an institution that oversees the distribution. And also, during this process, if you have minor children, this is where you'll name a guardian for them. I know this is where the process will break down many times. Try to agree on somebody. You can always revisit the guardianship issue down the line.
In addition to the will, what else do we need?
I think there's two other core documents. There's a healthcare proxy that allows you to appoint someone to make a healthcare decision on your behalf if you can't do so. And there's also something called a durable power of attorney. This will allow you to appoint someone to act as your financial agent in a variety of different circumstances. Maybe it's withdrawing money from a bank, or responding to a tax inquiry, or making a trade in your investment account.
And how simple is this to do? Is this something you need a lawyer for, or is this something that can be done online?
As long as you have a straightforward situation, sure, use an online service. But if there are any complications, a second marriage, a family estrangement, I think that these are cases where using a qualified estate planning attorney really does make sense. And you know, a lot of companies actually offer this as a benefit now, so maybe keep your eyes open during open enrollment. You might see legal services pop up, and maybe you can defray the cost that way.
Jill, sounds good. Thank you so much. You can see Jill regularly on CBS Mornings and the CBS Evening News. For more analysis, go to JillOnMoney.com.
Well, keeping your finances in mind, a critical benefit for millions of Americans could be in jeopardy in about a week. What needs to happen to keep people getting the help they need?
Plus, years of road construction has neighbors demanding answers. The questions we're asking officials tonight.
And later, the damage to a local golf course leaving a pretty big divot.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories for you right now.
Tropical storm Melissa formed earlier today. We're going to go in depth coming up in about 15 minutes. Talk about what the future may hold for this storm as it meanders for about a week in the Caribbean. We'll break that down at about 5:47.
An inmate who removed his toilet and burrowed his way to freedom won't be getting a new trial. Michael Rigby was in court today after a witness came forward claiming they lied about Rigby robbing a woman at a CVS in 2008. But the judge said it wasn't enough evidence to get Rigby out of jail. Rigby's family wants an appeal, but the victim's family says they're relieved. A 22-year-old man is now facing 8 charges after deputies say he carjacked a utility worker's truck. It happened Monday along a busy road as drivers made their way to work. A fight ensued after deputies say Stefano Brutus asked for a ride, then tried to steal the worker's truck. The arrest affidavit says Brutus took off, crashed, and then tried to steal other cars before he was arrested.
It is something we are all familiar with in Central Florida, road construction. In Marion County, people say a project along County Road 484 near I-75 in southern Ocala has seemingly stopped. This is actually a concern that Trooper Steve heard about and looked into more than 6 months ago. Another viewer reached out to our Marion County community correspondent Emily McLeod today. She's there looking for answers.
I got an email from a viewer named Brian about the construction happening on County Road 484 here in Marion County and his frustrations. He asked for my help to try and figure out why it's taking so long. So I called Brian up, met him here on County Road 484 to see the problem for myself and to try to get some answers. Do you feel unsafe driving on this road?
Oh, yeah. You know, and all this construction and no one's working on it.
Brian D. reached out to me to try and find out why a road project on County Road 484 has seemingly come to a stop. He says it's like nothing is getting done. Tell me, why did you reach out to News 6 about this traffic problem?
Because the traffic is such a nightmare. I mean, if we drive this at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to even into the evening, the traffic is so terrible that getting through can take a half an hour just to get to I-75.
And with all the construction that's happening, businesses along County Road 484 tell me it's impacting their bottom line.
What worrying us is like month by month, the construction was so slow and so delayed. Like you see now, you don't see anybody working on that project for the last year.
This project out here?
Correct.
Luis Acosta owns Country Lane Tack. His customers are having a hard time getting to his store with all of the traffic.
When you have cars just piled in front of you that just cannot access here, it is, you know, people don't bother to come here.
I reached out to the Florida Department of Transportation and asked them several questions about the project. They tell us in part, improvements on County Road 484 were temporarily paused as the project needed to go through a redesign to better work with the upcoming I-75 Moving Florida Forward project that intersects with that area. Active construction has not happened for many months. FDOT also tells me work is expected to begin within a month for parts of 484 at I-75 that will help reduce congestion. To read FDOT's full statement, you can head to clickorlando.com. I'm your Marion County community correspondent, Emily McLeod, News 6.
The city of Kissimmee is getting $200,000 to help those living on the street from the Department of Children and Families.
It comes as some people experiencing homelessness say right now not enough is being done. Your Kissimmee community correspondent Stephanie Rodriguez looks at how the grant will help.
The grant will fund a pilot program to address homelessness here in Kissimmee, which has become a focus for a lot of cities in Florida since the state's public camping ban went into effect. While money is on the way to help people experiencing homelessness in Kissimmee, some feel it's long overdue.
I'm not really sure that they are. I mean, everybody lives in the woods. And I mean, it's nothing, great. I don't feel like they're helping.
The city expects this grant will give them more manpower to address homelessness. It will create a community engagement unit pilot program designed to assist people in difficult, high-risk situations like Muhammad.
I'm not a young man, okay?
And Timothy, who has to move from place to place due to the state's public camping ban prohibiting sleeping and camping on public property.
Everybody's homeless. Ain't nowhere to go.
How hard is that?
That's real hard. You see it right now. What can I do? Not much. Ride around with a big bag on my back.
Kissimmee's pilot program will have a homeless service coordinator, law enforcement, a mental health provider, and engage with local agencies to try to divert people from the criminal justice system to stable housing. What could they do better?
I mean, they build all these apartments and stuff around here, and most of them are empty. How come ain't nobody living in them? Somebody could be.
What's your message to city leaders?
Help us. Put us inside.
Kissimmee is set to accept the grant during tonight's city commission meeting. I have reached out to the city for more information on the pilot program. I'm your Kissimmee community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Stephanie, thank you. 2 weeks ago, we told you how Orlando city leaders approved a $150,000 agreement with the Coalition for the Homeless to help tackle homelessness. The partnership focuses on providing shelter for families, people in dangerous situations, domestic violence survivors, and people at risk under the city's camping ban. House and Senate Republican leaders suggest the current GOP measures, which fund the government until November 21st, may need to be extended as the shutdown continues. Neither side is budging. Democrats continue to hold out for extended Affordable Care Act subsidies and reversals to cuts to Medicaid. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says Republicans will not negotiate with Democrats until a funding bill is passed.
Well, one of the concerns when it comes to the shutdown is keeping families fed. There have been a lot of questions around SNAP benefits since the shutdown began. Our Dollars and Cents reporter Donovan Myrie rejoins us now. So, Donovan, what's going to happen to families who rely on this program?
Unfortunately, Matt, it's too early to tell. SNAP benefits are being covered by the federal government until the end of the month, since officials knew a shutdown was possible and wanted to make sure people were covered ahead of time. But when the calendar hits November 1st, if there is no new government funding deal, benefits will be delayed unless the USDA dips into its contingency funding to pay for benefits. But experts say even that comes with limitations.
We know that USDA currently has about $6 billion in their contingency funds. It's about $8 billion to be able to pay all of the benefits for all across America. So it's just a matter of them utilizing the authority that they do have. As you said, they utilized it in other spaces, but the secretary does have the authority to look at other funding within USDA to make up the difference in the contingency funding and utilize that to ensure that people's benefits are on time in November.
Matt and Lisa, here's how important those SNAP benefits really are. The USDA says 1 in 8 Americans, nearly 42 million people, rely on SNAP benefits every month. Most are children, people with disabilities, older adults, veterans, and youth aging out of foster care. Experts also say food banks won't be enough to support the needs for every American. SNAP benefits provide 9 meals for everyone from a food bank.
All right, Donovan Myrie, live in the newsroom. Thank you. Well, a new state-of-the-art driving range at a historic Central Florida golf course is now officially open for business in Orlando.
Right. City leaders held a grand opening this morning at Dubsdread Golf Course.
1, 2, 3, swing.
I was there as Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer, City Commissioner Robert Stewart, and more took the celebratory first swing this morning. The new driving range and learning center is made for players of all ages and skill levels. The revamp includes 40 covered bays and an indoor air-conditioned learning center. Each golfer's shot is tracked by Doppler radar, and technology from TrackMan can analyze your swing, breaking it down into 44 separate categories.
I can tell you I've heard so much buzz. So many people in College Park are so excited for this to finally be open and to come out here and experience this. What can people expect when they come out here?
They can expect top-notch service we've got an amazing staff of food and beverage employees that has grown greatly over the last couple months. And they can expect what I perceive as a very well-priced product and experience. And we want all the feedback. If there's something going on that they don't like, we want to know it. But no, we want this to be home.
Construction on the nearly $4 million makeover for Orlando's 101-year-old Dubsdread Golf Course started in April. It also features a 19th-hole snack shack. City leaders say they hope families come out to visit in the same way they would go to places like Topgolf.
What'd you think?
beautiful.
Looks
yeah,
pretty nice.
Very nice. I love that it's covered. They're going to be open until like 6 or 8 o'clock at night, which is nice. It's got lights. So really making it accessible for all people.
Love to get my terrible swing analyzed. That's exactly what I need. Well, laughter can be a great medicine for the soul. And this week, there's a very special comedy show coming to Central Florida.
And it is unlike any other. The LEO Comedy Jam features law enforcement professionals as stand-up comics. One of those performers joined Trooper Steve in Results One today to talk about how being an officer and a comedian play into each profession.
Everything's on me now. And then I'm like, so me as a police officer, like, I didn't want to, like, so I'm like, wait a minute, do I go into comedy mode or do I go into, like, police mode? Because police mode, I'm outnumbered. Comedy mode, I can take on 100 people. You see what I'm saying?
I love how you said that.
Yeah. So police
it's
mode,
a familiar language.
There you go. So and it's better. Like, people will actually do more of what you say if they're enjoying what you're saying instead of being forceful and like, hey, I need all you guys to go that way. You know, start being all they're like, nah, man, we ain't going that way. Nah, I gotta be like, well, you're gonna go that way. Now it's a problem, right? But if I can make a funny joke and they're like, oh man, yeah, where we need to go, yeah, we'll go that way. He's cool, he's funny. I want people to love me and not feel uncomfortable, because most comedians will talk about people in the audience and talk about them and make them kind of uncomfortable.
You're not that guy.
I talk about myself, and so I typically try to get the whole crowd to love me instead of somebody saying, well, he talked about my shirt, he talked about my tie, he was talking about my shoes, I didn't really like him, he wasn't that funny.
Right.
But when everybody's like, oh wait, he's talking about himself, and it was
I
so
can get
funny,
in on
and
that.
I can get it. Yeah, look at him. Yeah, he talks about. So I talk about foot pursuits, me being a bigger cop and stuff. I mean, it is funny. So
Awesome.
I'm saying, so
this is happening Thursday night. Show starts at
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Tickets are like $22.
Yeah, they're $25.
And if you are interested in going to the event on Thursday, we've posted a link to buy tickets in this article at clickorlando.com. Just click on the On Patrol section under the traffic tab. Well, between wildlife and water hazards, Florida golfers have to play through a lot. And to the surprise of many at one golf course, tire tracks, the golf course that vandals apparently are accused of doing, and officials are looking for them tonight. Jonathan.
We're going to go in depth with newly developed tropical storm Melissa in just a couple of minutes, but we're also tracking our new cold front to reinforce some comfortable air across Central Florida. We'll have that in your 7-day forecast coming up at about 5:47.
Imagine being excited to hit the links in the morning, and then you find this on the second hole of the day. It looks terrible.
Yeah, police say vandals did more than $160,000 in damage to the club at Venetian Bay in New Smyrna Beach. Your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada has the latest on the investigation to find who did this and what the course is doing to get back up to par.
I'm standing right here on the second green where this happened. Matter of fact, you could still see the tire marks going straight across here on this putting surface. And police say whoever drove out here in the middle of the night didn't just leave a mess. They left behind more than $160,000 in damage. New Smyrna Beach officers were called out early Sunday after the general manager, Ben Herring, arrived to find deep tire marks and torn up turf on the second green. The club estimates about 7,000 square feet was damaged, and that repairs could cost more than $160,000 and take weeks.
There was significant damage, but we have such an amazing maintenance crew led by wonderful superintendent Brad Tucker, and almost immediately we got to work and we aerified the hole, we top dressed it, fertilized it, and it looks like we're going to come off this thing better than we ever have.
A witness reported seeing a vehicle on the course doing donuts around 3:30 in the morning, but as you can see in this video, they could not get a tag number or description in the dark.
Thank God for our community members. They're so gracious to help us out. And one of our members that lives right on hole number 2 gave us video footage of that vehicle doing the donuts on hole number 2.
Detectives are reviewing surveillance video and working with course management to identify those responsible. They're also asking neighbors with cameras to check for any overnight footage and email tips to pdtips@cityofnsb.com. Despite the damage, Herring says the club isn't losing any motion.
This place is in the best shape it's ever been, and it's better than it's ever been. That golf experience will not be tainted by one person's actions.
As of this evening, no arrests have been made. Police say once the driver is identified, they'll be facing felony charges based on the cost of the damage. Reporting in New Smyrna Beach, I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada, News 6.
Just awful to see that out there. On the flip side, it was a beautiful day to be on the golf course.
Yes.
If you could play.
This is true.
It's looking gorgeous at Port Canaveral right now as well. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas standing by, pinpointing that for us.
Yeah, and it should be pretty nice for the rest of the evening for about 98% of us. We will see the opportunity for a few stray downpours along and southeast of I-4. That will be few and far between. Most of us we'll get this tonight. It's a live look, Port Canaveral, with our Launch Credit Union camera. You can keep up with the forecast again, track the changes that are coming behind a cold front. It's not going to bring much colder air, but it will bring in much less humid air by the time you wake up on Thursday morning. That's going to officially slice through late tomorrow afternoon. Now here's a look at tomorrow's forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
So ahead of that front, we are still going to be warm tomorrow. Temperatures still staying in the mid to upper 80s. Rain chances super low. Most of us will be dry tomorrow, but a stray sprinkle is possible late tomorrow afternoon. As that front comes through, may force up a few extra clouds. You'll notice that into the evening, but then you'll also notice a wind shift out of the north and west as that front comes through. Latest on Melissa, it is still unorganized in the Caribbean. The flare-up of thunderstorms hanging back from the low-level center. It's trying to develop right through there. That's where you see that flare-up of thunderstorms. So the two are not co-located. That is something that is critical for a tropical system. They need to be vertically stacked like a stack of pancakes. When it's kind of disheveled and tilted like that, they do not strengthen very efficiently. So we are going to keep this thing weak over the next several days. Latest track again from the Hurricane Center, going to keep this thing slow moving and then just kind of meandering, pretty much stalling out in between Jamaica and Haiti and the Dominican Republic over the next couple of days. You see that's Sunday afternoon, and we're still talking about this thing in the Caribbean. Right now, by the way, it's a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm expected to become a hurricane. A lot more lines on this map. I know it looks kind of busy and it looks like literally a plate of spaghetti, but they do tell a story. So I want to show you a couple things here. You see how there's one solution that has at least a grouping that takes it kind of up and down and around the island of Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, and Haiti. That's if the storm were to get strong fast. I don't think that's going to happen. It's kind of tilted. It's kind of sheared off right now. The other camp is to keep it weak and to keep it going west, and then eventually feeling the tug of a big dip in the jet stream. That should continue to keep it away from Florida, but I think the more likely scenario is to get this thing a little bit further west than some of the model guidance you might be seeing. So again, if you like to look at those models at home, I think the GFS is a little too fast getting this up out of here. I think the European has a little bit better. If it stays weak, it goes further to the west. Just keep that in mind over the next couple of days. Again, this should still deflect away from Florida. Always keeping a close eye on it for any kind of shenanigans, as this is going to stall over the next few days. Temperatures over the next few days for us, nice and comfy. We're back to the low to mid 80s behind the front. So again, the front doesn't have a ton of bite to it temperature wise. We will fall back down into the low to mid 60s Thursday into Friday to start things off. The humidity, I think, is going to be the bigger thing that you notice. It is going to feel very comfortable Thursday into Friday. I think a little more humidity sneaks back in here Saturday and Sunday. That'll give us a stray opportunity anyway to end the weekend with just a few passing showers, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, after the break, why experts say no one was at fault in a scary incident on a cruise ship earlier this year.
Coming up in the morning, the brewing battle over your taxes. Some lawmakers want a big cut.
But some local governments warn if it happens, we'll all pay the price. We'll break it all down from both sides.
Plus your weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 mornings starting at 6.
And here is a live look at Mount Dora. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. Well, it is video that is hard to forget. The moments a father and his 5-year-old daughter are rescued from the ocean and brought back to their Disney cruise ship after the man jumped in to save his little girl.
Yeah, we told you yesterday as breaking news at 6 that charges were dropped against that mom. CBS's Christian Benavidez is speaking with one expert on why that decision was made.
This was the heart-stopping scene when crew members rescued a 5-year-old girl who fell nearly 50 feet off the Disney Dream cruise ship in June, and her father, who jumped in to rescue her.
The ship was moving quickly, so quickly, it's crazy how quickly the people became little tiny dots in the sea.
Now, Florida prosecutors say they won't be charging the girl's mother with child neglect. Court documents reveal the little girl jumped up onto a railing, like this one, to pose for her mom's photo, then lost her balance and fell backwards into the ocean through an open porthole. According to a memo from prosecutors, the girl's mother assumed the porthole had a glass barrier, which she told investigators was present on other portholes she saw on the ship.
Things happen quick. People make assumptions very quickly, and that's when a lot of times bad things happen.
Michael Winkleman is an attorney specializing in maritime law. He was not involved in this case.
This was a mom who made an honest mistake. There's probably several hundred photos that are taken in those kind of portals that have glass windows behind them on every single cruise. In this spot where they were on an open deck, it happened to be that exact same configuration, except there was no window.
Both the child and her father were rescued by Disney Cruise about 10 minutes after the Mayday call went out. She did not have any injuries, but he sustained 2 spinal fractures.
At the end of the day, I think it's just a miracle that everyone came out safe.
Prosecutors wrote that while the mother was arguably negligent and irresponsible, it did not rise to the level of criminal negligence. We tried to reach out to the girl's parents. We also reached out to Disney, but have not heard back. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami Beach.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
A carjacking in Orlando caught on camera, and you won't believe what police collected as evidence in this investigation. Also, how Magic players are feeling at the final practice before the start of the regular season. A live look now at downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. Look at that beautiful blue sky out there. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is up with your forecast and talking about Tropical Storm Melissa. That's next.
The storm we've been tracking for just about a week is now officially Tropical Storm Melissa. We'll have the latest on where this storm could be headed coming up.
Plus, a popular shoe collected as evidence in a carjacking investigation, and a headache of a situation for neighbors in Cocoa.
It's been an ongoing problem since we've been here.
The flooding pond impacting this community. You're watching News 6 at 6.
All right, we begin now with tracking Tropical Storm Melissa. You heard Jonathan say we've been tracking this storm for a week now,
Yeah.
but it's going to be much longer.
Yeah, it seems like it's been a year. I mean, these things that come across the entire Atlantic, they take forever. We talked about that last week. It is officially now a tropical storm in the Eastern Caribbean, and it is going to stall out and just kind of meander through the Caribbean over the next week. I still think we're going to be talking about this by the time Halloween gets here, with all likelihood east of Florida. Again, it is still not organized completely. You see the thunderstorms flaring up over here, then another round of thunderstorms here. The low-level center where you get the whole spin at the surface, and that's what you need it to be classified as a tropical system. It's out here. Meanwhile, all the main core of the thunderstorms well back to the east. It's an evidence that this thing is dealing with some wind shear and likely will for the bulk of its life, even in the Caribbean. The water's really warm, but it's not going to be a completely pristine atmosphere. You see how slowly these models are moving when you put them into motion. Again, there's going to be a lot of zigzagging in here between Jamaica and Haiti. Where it goes from there, I think it's a little uncertain. I think you're going to start to see these models that I'm showing you here start to take a little bit further to the west, maybe closer to Cuba. As a result of it, I think staying weaker for a longer period of time, which will allow it to kind of sneak under the steering currents and then kind of get blocked by a big chunk of high pressure. We'll talk much more about that coming up in about 15 minutes. As far as your evening, if you're heading out tonight, maybe grabbing a bite to eat for dinner, rain chances pretty much non-existent. There will be a few downpours trying to develop south and east of Orlando, south and east of I-4. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. We'll go a little more in depth with Melissa coming up at about 6:17, guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. Developing now at 6, a 15-year-old's facing serious charges after police say they threatened to carry out a shooting at a West Melbourne middle school. Palm Bay police say this is a photo of the threat that Stone Middle School student made against Central Middle School. According to police, when questioned about it, the teen admitted to it. He was arrested in Palm Bay, where he lives, and charged with making written threats to conduct a mass shooting. Also tonight, a carjacking caught on camera during an early morning service call in Orlando.
Video obtained exclusively by News 6 shows the dramatic moment someone steals a utility worker's truck. The 22-year-old man deputies say is responsible is now facing 8 charges. But listen to this. Police say a piece of evidence collected in this investigation was his Croc footwear that fell off during the scuffle. Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valente joins us now live from where this all happened along Edgewater Drive. So, Mike, the utility employee was just getting ready to do a job there.
Yeah, Ginger, that's our understanding. And the surveillance video that we obtained from a business across the street shows that moment that this utility worker pulled in the truck, parked right here in the driveway. It also depicts the moment that another man gets into that truck and drives off. Caught on camera, this carjacking unfolds right along a busy road as drivers make their way to work. But let's back up just a few minutes, shortly before 7:40 a.m. Monday morning, when this truck pulls into the driveway. Deputies say this utility worker was waiting for his boss to get there to start a job. But instead, walking into the frame is this man, who deputies identified as 22-year-old Stefano Brutus. An arrest affidavit for Brutus states that the defendant asked the worker if he knew the bus route, or if the worker could give him a ride. When the employee said no to both questions, deputies claim an argument began. Watch closely as that argument turns physical. You can fought back, but as you can see in the video, shows the suspect was able to get into the truck and back it up before it appears he briefly changes his mind, parks it in the driveway again, gets out, and follows the employee out of frame. Deputies say Brutus pushed the victim down onto the ground, leaving him with cuts and bruises. Then we can see the suspect run back to the truck and take off. The arrest affidavit claims that Brutus then got into a crash at Edgewater and Lee Road before ditching the truck and trying to get into other vehicles. So, Ginger, you mentioned this before, but it's worth repeating. According to his arrest affidavit, one of the pieces of evidence that Brutus apparently left behind was one of his Crocs. Deputies also say that after he was arrested, he tried to run away in the booking facility, but they were able to quickly catch up to him. He is facing an escape charge. That's one of 8 criminal charges that he's currently facing. He's slated to appear in court next on Friday. As for the victim in this case, he is doing okay. Understandably, he's not ready for an interview, but he did tell me that he worked for Utility Partners of America and that they were doing contract work for OUC yesterday morning at the time of this service call. Reporting off of Edgewater Drive, I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you. Well, a man accused of trying to rape and kill a woman in Orange County this summer is back in custody. A judge ruled this morning social media comments were enough to revoke Jacoby Tillman's bond. News 6's Catherine Silver tells us the next push in this case.
Jacoby Tillman walked into this courthouse freely today, but just moments after the judge made the decision to revoke his bond, we watched as he was surrounded by deputies and placed in handcuffs.
Motion is granted. Bond is revoked.
Moments after the judge's decision to send Jacoby Tillman back to jail, Tillman said he wanted to make a statement of his own.
I want them to say I didn't do it.
Tillman's defense attorneys quickly quieted the 23-year-old who is facing charges, including attempted murder and attempted sexual battery after a woman running on the Little Econ Greenway Trail says he attacked her in July. Tillman was arrested this month, given a $9,500 bond, and released with this warning.
If I get any inkling that you have violated the conditions of pretrial release, you will be arrested on a no bond warrant, you'll be put right back in jail, and you will not get out.
But prosecutors say 4 days later, Tillman posted this screenshot on TikTok with a message meant for a witness in the case.
Did Mr. Tillman post that text message and then underneath it basically make a comment referencing the text message? Yes, ma'am.
The lead detective testified that witness told law enforcement she recognized the account and the screenshot.
This was a communication that was clearly intended to reach the person that the defendant was prohibited from contacting.
The judge says Tillman will remain in custody pending further proceedings.
I love y'all, man.
Prosecutors have filed a motion asking for Tillman to stay in custody while he waits for trial. We're also learning they have notified the court they do plan to seek an enhanced sentence for Tillman due to his prior criminal record. In Orange County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Now to this wild story. A UCF professor is on leave accused of chasing a kid on an e-bike and slapping them. Oviedo police say Professor Sean Pang chased a Jackson Heights middle school student on an e-bike. They say Pang caught up to the student on school property and ended up smacking the helmet off of their head. Pang is now facing battery charges and trespassing charges as well. UCF tells us he is on paid leave while the university processes and reviews what happened. An update tonight on a woman who was heard earlier this month at a Pine Hills restaurant. She's taking the first steps in legal action. We're hearing Deja Stover has hired an attorney to investigate into the roof collapse. We brought you this story earlier this month. She and her 2-year-old daughter were eating at Flyers Wings and Grill when her family says the roof collapsed on top of them. Stover suffered head and neck and back injuries and was taken to the hospital. The family wants to see the restaurant closed.
A scary scene in Holly Hill after a crash ends in somebody's backyard. Take a look at the scene of a 3-car crash near North Nova Road and 8th Street. A witness told our photojournalist at the scene 2 cars crashed, and when the third tried to avoid the wreck, it hit the guardrail and then flipped into that home's yard. The person inside that third car was trapped, had to be rescued. Police tell us 1 person was taken to the hospital but is now alert and awake.
Before they started digging the ditch on through, it would be flooded all the way up the street there.
Neighbors in Cocoa are raising concerns over a pond they say is causing flooding in their community. Some people living there say the ground is so soaked their mobile homes are sinking. Now they are turning to your community correspondent James Sparvero for help.
So after I worked on a story Friday at a mobile home park in Mims, I was contacted by someone here at the Westgate Mobile Home Community in West Cocoa, west of I-95, talking about this retention pond and all the trouble coming from it. They say it's flooding their neighborhood. So Virginia, just how bad does it get when that pond floods?
This area will be flooded. Before they started digging the ditch on through, it would be flooded all the way up the street there.
I asked FDOT about the flooding, and it told me that workers came here to clear that ditch running along the pond. Without it being blocked of any debris, FDOT tells me the system's working how it should.
It's been an ongoing problem since we've been here.
But people who live here, like Virginia, who, by the way, lives in one of the closest homes to the pond, is still worried anytime it rains. Neighbors also told me when the big equipment was here, they were afraid those vehicles could hit a gas line.
I don't want us to go boom.
People here also think FDOT hit a water line, but when I asked FDOT about that, it told me they did hit a pipe, but it wasn't for water. They couldn't tell me exactly what the pipe was for, but they did want me to tell neighbors they're looking at options at how they can make possible improvements. For now, FDOT said they have no indication the pond is impacting the park. So what needs to be done to fix this problem?
Well, they need to trench it better. The water's coming this way, but it has no place to go down here. It needs to go that way.
And because Virginia told me this problem is ongoing, I'll keep in touch with this community, especially if it rains again anytime soon. In case you were wondering what the retention pond's here for, FDOT told me it was built 18 years ago as part of an I-95 widening project. In Brevard County, I'm your COCO community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
News 6 is digging into a lawsuit aimed at a popular online platform your child definitely knows about.
Yeah, coming out, the latest in this lawsuit and the response from Roblox.
And with the start of the NBA season a day away, how Magic players are feeling at the final practice before tip-off.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
Allegations of kids being exploited and groomed online. On Monday, we told you the state is going after a popular game.
Yeah, Roblox accusing it of not doing enough to protect kids online. As News 6 investigator Erica Briguglio uncovered, hundreds of tips have been reported in Central Florida, but many cases hit a dead end.
Hundreds of children, and we really think it's only the tip of the iceberg.
Pat Hewitt and his law firm have been investigating cases against Roblox for 2 years. He's now representing a 16-year-old girl from Brevard County who claims she was groomed and sexually exploited on the platform.
And her life has just dramatically changed to the point where it's hard for her to even function anymore.
A separate lawsuit was just filed on behalf of an 11-year-old girl from Brevard County. According to this lawsuit, a man posed as a young boy on Roblox, gained her trust, then manipulated her into sending explicit images of herself. In return, he would give her Robux, the virtual money used to buy things on the app. Florida's Attorney General is launching a criminal investigation into Roblox. His office just issued criminal subpoenas in response to allegations the company was not doing enough to verify user ages and moderate content. Hewitt says Roblox needs to verify people's age when they sign up and screen users in case they have a history of child abuse. He also says the platform needs to warn parents about the risks.
Roblox says publicly that its platform is one of the safest online environments for children. That's how parents get lured into this false sense of security.
Under law, technology companies are required to report suspected child exploitation on their platform to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In Central Florida, those tips are investigated by a unit within the Osceola County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office says Roblox is one of the top 10 companies that submitted tips in Central Florida, with more than 800 tips reported since the start of this year. It's behind Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok, which have reported thousands of incidents since January 1st. Now, when it comes to Roblox, the Sheriff's Office says many of the tips submitted lack information, including the age of the victim, suspect, or criminal exchange, making it tough to investigate. However, the Sheriff's Office says it does not have enough information to say Roblox is negligent at reporting or failing to protect children. Hewitt urges parents to talk to their kids about the risks and also monitor what their children are doing online.
There are other apps that parents can use, like this app called the Bark app, which is one that helps parents monitor their children's use of apps like Roblox.
News 6 reached out to Roblox for its response to these lawsuits and if it has other plans to update its security features. A spokesperson says, quote, "We have a strong record of working with law enforcement and investing in advanced safety systems to help protect our users and remove bad actors. We prohibit the sharing of images and videos in chat, use filters designed to block the exchange of personal information, and are working to implement age estimation for all users accessing chat features." I posted the full statement at clickorlando.com. Erica Briguglio, News 6.
Time to get a check of that weather. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas is taking a look at the radar where you live tonight. Jonathan.
Yeah, and it should be a pretty quiet night for most of us. We've been talking about the opportunity for a few downpours. This is our friend, the East Coast sea breeze coming in. You can track it with the as these showers try to get going tonight. Nothing out there right now, but as that continues to push towards the Florida Turnpike and eventually I-4, may try to spark a couple of downpours to then push back towards the east coast of Florida. The air is pretty dry in the mid-levels of our atmosphere. It's going to be hard for that to happen, but that is a non-zero chance. So again, just an early heads up, pretty much from about Hunters Creek to Kissimmee back toward us in Titusville, Port St. John, Grant Valcaria into Mico. Again, it is a very small chance, but a non-zero chance. For the rest of the evening, there they go. That's it. Right? You saw on future radar, again, just a few of these guys popping up. We're completely dry from Denellen back to Ocala, Palm Coast, Bunnell. Good evening. We're looking pretty good tonight and rest of overnight as well. Tomorrow, I think most of us are dry. Notice these clouds trying to get going from Gainesville. This is going to be right ahead of the leading edge of some relatively speaking cooler and certainly drier air as a cold front slices through. That's 11 o'clock on Wednesday night. We should be nice and clear to allow us to wake up to a very comfortable, Borderline crisp morning on Thursday. Beautifully blue skies out there right now. Here's a live look in downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. We're back to the mid-80s under those crystal clear skies. Again, just a few stray clouds bubbling up with a stray shower in the mix, mainly south and east of I-4. We're at 84 in Leesburg, 81 in DeLand. Good evening in Titusville. We're back to 84. Same for us, just across the street in Oviedo. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency? You ought to call Strata.
Tomorrow morning, we're waking up pretty much right where we should be for this time of the year. Most of us into the low to mid 60s, a little bit warmer right around the city of Orlando, back to the upper 60s in Oviedo and parts of eastern Seminole County. We're back to 68 in Titusville, Palm Bay. Good evening. We're back to around 70 degrees. Now, tomorrow afternoon, another warmer afternoon out ahead of our next cold front. Rain chances back to 10% as that front comes through into the evening. Most of us are dry. We're at 85 in Leesburg tomorrow, 87 degrees in Kissimmee. Back to St. Cloud Celebration. We're going to be back into the upper 80s as well. Here's the cold front. It's back closer to Atlanta, slicing through parts of New Orleans as well. Behind it, some drier air getting ready to slice through. Now, again, it's not going to be a huge dip in the temperatures, at least when you're into the afternoon. It'll take us back down closer to where we should be by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, and into the start of the weekend. But one thing I do think you'll notice is the much more comfortable air. It certainly added a little bit of more extra humidity into our atmosphere over the past few days. That goes away by the time you wake up on Thursday. 84 degrees on Thursday. We're starting things off in the low to mid 60s starting on Thursday morning and through the start of the weekend. I think a little bit warmer, a little bit more humid, especially as we get towards the second half of the weekend. Rain chances only at 20%, and then we get another round of drier air as we get into the early part of next work week, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Sports director Jamie Say is here.
Jamie, only 24 more hours until the Magic tip things off.
Yeah, and I mean, the Kia Center should be electric tomorrow when the Miami Heat come to town, play the Magic. I can tell you, the Magic are ready for the opener. You're going to hear from the guys coming up. But first, homecoming tonight for UCF basketball's Johnny Dawkins, the coach. And his Knights are at Duke, Dawkins' alma mater. His jersey is in the rafters at Cameron Indoor. Knights will face the Blue Devils in an exhibition game tonight at 7. We'll be right back. Welcome back to News 6. It is nearly go time, showtime, let them know time for the Orlando Magic. Tomorrow night is game 1 of the 37th season in franchise history, a campaign that could be special. The Magic tip off against the Heat at 7 tomorrow. News 6 was at practice today. They're fired up, focused, and confident, and they should be. The team has a clean slate after last year's injury-riddled season that still resulted in a playoff appearance. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner became the first Magic teammates to both average more than 20 points a game since Shaq and Penny. With newcomer Desmond Bane, they've got another go-to guy on offense. Here are the Magic's thoughts on the eve of the season opener.
We got high expectations in the building, so I felt like we had them last year already. Obviously, we got some new pieces, so it's a little bit different from that standpoint, but I'm confident in the group, excited to just get started.
We thought we had a good camp. We did a lot of communicating, and we fixed a lot of things we needed to fix. So, of course, we feel ready, and we're excited to go out.
Obviously, there's always going to be the unexpected things that happen throughout a year, but this group has been prepped in a lot of ways for that. Dealing with injuries, dealing with the season, coming off a loss, coming off a winning streak. Those things are all going to happen with an NBA season, and I think that's the preparation that these guys understand.
Jalen Suggs' availability for the season opener going to be determined tomorrow. He has ramped up his work over the last 2 days, competing in the Magic's 5-on-5 practices for the first time. Suggs coming back from a knee injury that needed surgery. He has not played in any game since late January. And as the NBA gets ready to tip off its 80th season, the odds are out for postseason honors already. And the preseason favorite for Coach of the Year is Jamal Mosley. The Magic head man is top choice, followed by the Hawks' Quinn Snyder. Mose is in his 5th season leading the Magic. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to the Detroit Lions last night on Monday Night Football, and they lost wide receiver Mike Evans for most of the season.
2nd down and 5. Here's a deep shot, Evans, and a diving grab. It's out, incomplete, and
Evans broke his collarbone, suffered a concussion on that play. Bucs coach Todd Bowles said this morning that Evans is likely out until the end of the year. Would be great for the team to get him back for the playoffs. Evans is the franchise's all-time leading receiver, a reliable target for Baker Mayfield. The Bucs did drop to 5-2 with last night's 24-9 loss in the Motor City.
I mean, obviously, for the team, it's not great, but for him, I hate it. But guys trying to step up and play for him.
Yeah, man. I mean, Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, Levante David, Vita Vea, they are the heart of that team.
Yeah.
Tough to see Evans go down.
And he laid out fully to try to make that catch.
It would have been a spectacular catch.
Yeah, it's true, Jamie. Thank you. More news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app.
Until then, have a great night, everybody.